trees.
I literally felt the force of it blowing us. It came straight through our living room.
Winter weather leading to treacherous travel out west and limited visibility on the mountain.
That makes it difficult to see whether you're on the slopes or the streets.
Why did a dead 30,000-pound sperm whale wash up on an Alabama beach?
I've never seen anything like this close up.
How changing climate patterns are forcing more ski resorts to rely on man-made snow to cover their slopes.
We can create a lot of snow here on our own.
And what are you planning to do with your Christmas tree once the holiday season is over?
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning. So glad you're with us here on the National Weather Desk. I'm Adam Longo. So cleanup is underway in several southern states after weekend storms spawned dozens of tornadoes and left hundreds of thousands of people in the dark. There were at least 45 reports of twisters across Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. At least 4 deaths are blamed on the storm, including a man in North Carolina who died when a tree fell on his pickup. Well, north of Houston, firefighters rescued 2 small children. They were trapped in a car after a tree fell on top of it. Thankfully, those kids didn't appear to be seriously injured. Many other survivors are grateful to be alive to tell their stories. We begin our coverage with Michelle Choi in Alvin, Texas, which is not far from Galveston.
As soon as daylight broke, homeowners living here along Mustang Road, including Amy Duncan and her husband, were hard at work cleaning up. Their home of 2 years is one of at least 40 structures that were heavily damaged during Saturday's devastating storms, according to the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office. They say a tornado touched down between the Alvin and Hillcrest area and the Liverpool area, killing 1 woman and injuring 4 others, and leaving behind a path of destruction.
I literally felt the force of it blowing us.
Amy and her family were in the middle of opening gifts, celebrating a late Christmas when she says the tornado hit.
It came straight through our living room. We had our 96-year-old grandmother here. We just hunkered down and covered each other up.
Fortunately, she says, other than some minor cuts and bruises, no one was seriously hurt. Their home, however, didn't fare as well.
We don't have a roof on half of, 80% of the house. It all fell through.
She and her husband now left with uncertainty.
We're trying to just get our stuff out and figure out what we're doing next. So, Happy New Year.
Alvin ISD is also working to come up with a plan after one of its campuses was hit hard. District officials and structural experts arrived at Walt Disney Elementary School to survey the building, which includes heavy roof damage. The district says they're still working on a plan, including where to relocate the students and staff when they return from winter break in just over a week.
As the storm moved east along the Texas coast, it left a path of destruction from Galveston to Beaumont. The National Weather Service now says that tornado was an EF3 with peak winds estimated at 161 miles an hour. Now, the twister fell apart in Port Arthur, but not before striking an RV park. 2 people were hurt, including a man who was briefly trapped in his home. Kirsten Lindquist spoke with the man who recounts his terrifying experience.
I don't know. It was raining real hard, and all of a sudden, next thing I knew, it was upside down, knocking false teeth out of my house.
Troy Thornton's world literally turned upside down when a tornado that started south of Houston tore through his home at the Pleasure Island RV park.
Yeah, it was pretty watching TV. Next thing I know, I'm on the side. Somebody from next door is pulling me out with it. They put a ladder up on top, pulled me through my door.
Thornton was one of 2 people injured, 6 RVs damaged, 2 confirmed total losses. Port Arthur first responders on scene determining if other homes like Thornton's can be salvaged.
I just got out of my trailer and got away.
Thornton says he's grateful some of his neighbors stuck around.
I don't really know anybody because I just keep to myself, but like I say, I met some neighbors today. About 3 of them pulled me out of my trailer I never met before.
Thornton has family who will stay while he works with his neighbors to pick up the pieces. But for now,
I just got lucky. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say about it. Just thank God I'm alive.
On Pleasure Island, I'm Kirsten Lindquist reporting.
To southwestern Mississippi now, where a tornado destroyed the building housing the Ozion Baptist Church. Remarkably, a couple who took shelter inside of that building, they weren't injured. This is the second time a tornado destroyed this church. The first time was back in 1934. Those storms also caused some damage in Georgia. The National Weather Service confirming a tornado touched down early Sunday morning southwest of Atlanta. It brought down trees and power lines. Well, rainy and snowy weather in California's Sierra Nevada mountains causing some treacherous driving conditions over the weekend. It was good news for some snowboarders who said the weather was, well, just right for the final weekend of 2024. Michelle Bandour has more.
Roads are definitely a little uglier on the way up here. Like right when you get up here, it kind of takes a turn, you know? But the rain wasn't too bad.
We caught up with Alex Villa and his friends from the Bay Area as they get ready to head up Boreal Mountain.
It's the first run of the season. We're about to get out there, get some runs in, check it out, see how it goes. Didn't check the weather before we got here, so it looks like it's going to be one of those days.
At issue is the wind. With such strong wind gusts, it makes it difficult to see whether you're on the slopes or the streets.
With the visibility in front of you, it makes it a little harder, but it's still fun. Like I said, we're coming from the Bay Area, so it's always worth it. We don't have much time to get out here, so on days like this, it's our only time to get out here. We're gonna come out here and go from there.
Heather Haynes missed driving in the bad weather coming in from Monterey Saturday to spend a few days on her snowboard. The blustery conditions, she says, makes it more exciting.
Oh, it's perfect. It's my favorite time. It's like fresh snow, heavy snow, plus it's nice because other people don't want to be out here. So this is my time to shine.
No sunshine in the Sierra, but plenty of snow to keep snowboarders happy and drivers cautious.
So ice can be interesting. What we see can form in different ways. Take rime ice, for example, which meteorologist Teresa Carter explains.
It is a common sight on mountaintops or on the sides of mountains and is often mistaken for snow. It is rime ice. But how does it occur? Rime ice occurs on objects located in clouds or freezing fog, which alongside the air temperature is below 32 degrees. Within these clouds or fog, millions of supercooled water droplets turn into ice when they come in contact with an object such as branches of trees, and typically build up on the windward side of objects. Rime ice can be classified as either hard or soft and will generally depend on the wind strength. Hard rime ice is very dense and trees appear to be coated evenly with the crystals. This occurs due to freezing fog when wind speeds are high and temperatures range between 17 to 28 degrees. On the other hand, soft rime is not as thick and may appear fragile or sugary. It is more likely to happen when winds are calmer during freezing fog. So next time you spot rime ice, take a moment to look really closely at the layering of crystals and try to note the wind direction.
All right, a massive sperm whale has washed itself up on Alabama's Gulf Coast. Well, now officials want to know how the whale died and why it ended up on the beach. Hannah Mays has more.
The 40-foot whale, weighing 30,000 pounds, appearing emaciated and to have been dead for several days.
Our biggest goal is to get it out of the water, get it to a more secluded and private location to be able to do that type of sampling and that type of assessment to really figure out exactly what the cause of death was.
Engineers with the county, the Fort Morgan Fire Department, and Baldwin County EMA were all brought out to help relocate the whale to a more secluded portion of the beach so the Dauphin Island Sea Lab could perform a necropsy. That is an autopsy for an animal. They are looking for two things: the cause of death and how it ended up so close to shore. After that, the whale will be buried somewhere on Fort Morgan Beach. It took crews nearly an hour and 2 cranes later to move the whale a quarter-mile up the beach and out of the water.
Our most recent sperm whale stranding in Alabama was in 2020, so that was a little over 4 years ago now. And up until 2020, we had never had a confirmed stranding of a sperm whale.
All right, a new warning to share with you here about space debris. Experts warn that Earth's orbit is becoming crowded with debris, increasing the risk for collisions. The debris includes things like retired satellites and other objects left in orbit. Much of the debris is moving nearly 7 times faster than a bullet and can pose a threat to astronauts and future satellite launches. Well, officials say the U.S. Space Force issues at least 800 alerts per day about potential impending collisions. All right, still ahead on the National Weather Desk, it is ski season. We're going to share tips for making sure you and your family are safe on the slopes. And we're going to find out what officials in one Texas town plan to do with all of their leftover Christmas trees.
watching the National Weather Desk.
So winter has officially set in, and for many people, it's the season to grab the snowboard or the skis and hit the slopes. But before you do, a reminder about playing it safe. Barbara Morse reports that ski and snowboard safety begins even before you hit the slopes.
This is all straight lines, and it's right across the ski. To me, this is now ready.
A sporting goods store is where you start so you can prep your skis to make them safer on the slopes. And then there are your bindings.
Seeing a lot of people, are you losing weight, gaining muscle? Those are all factored into the binding checks on skis.
Age, too, is a factor.
Under 10 and over 50, we drop you down a setting just for safety.
And then there's knowing the surface conditions, hard, icy conditions.
Tend to see upper extremity injuries. If the snow surface is sticky or the snow is deep, tend to have more twisting injuries, usually knee injuries.
Dr. Michael Bellinger knows firsthand. He's an avid skier and a sports injury doc. One of the most common injuries, something known as skier's thumb.
The pole will hit the ground in a fall, and then your hand will fall on top of it and be pushed too far, stretching or spraining the ligament that connects the two bones. During a fall, let go of the pole so that the hand doesn't land onto that lever.
Snowboarding's a little different than skiing.
Dr. Michael Stabler, also a sports injury doc. Well, snowboarding is his sport of choice. Wrist guards, he says, are a must.
We recommend ones like this that have a bar on both the bottom and top.
He knows firsthand how important these are.
So when I was a resident, I was snowboarding and I fell and I injured my wrist and I spent 8 weeks in a cast.
That led to research that showed how effective these wrist guards are. Make sure your board is tuned up and the screws that bolt your shoes in are tight. Another must, a good helmet.
Everyone wants MIPS when they come in. It's just that extra little safety level.
So offering new technology to help prevent against head injuries.
Other advice, dress comfortably and bundle up. You don't want to have a miserable day on the slopes.
So for ski resorts in the Mid-Atlantic, snowfall has been well below average recently. That means shorter seasons and fewer visitors. Meteorologist Jordan Evans takes us to the slopes for a closer look at the increased reliance on snowmaking at one resort.
As winter's warm here in the Mid-Atlantic, that of course can mean less snowfall. Now, not every winter stays warm, and there are periods of cold Arctic air. December started off well below average, and ski resorts in western Maryland, like Deep Creek, saw the first round of snow from Mother Nature. Some ski resorts in the Mid-Atlantic have to wait longer for help from Mother Nature, but they don't let that slow down their season.
Whether it's just, a ton of natural snow or less natural snow, we can create a lot of snow here on our own. I think the cool thing is, we have great technology. We have really, really strong teams who are able to make snow even when it's not coming naturally from the sky. And so that allows us this really great consistency to create a good experience.
Even with temperatures not as cold in our most recent winters, Chris Blackwell, the general manager at Liberty Mountain Resort, says they have been able to maintain good snowmaking and a good experience for all visitors.
We have over 300 different snow guns on our mountain. The technology has definitely improved over the years, allowing us to use less energy, less water to create more snow. And so as that technology continues to advance, we're trying to jump on it at every opportunity, continuing to invest in that each year, which allows us to make snow even when the temperatures are marginal.
But for good snowmaking, cold air is key. Depending on location, some resorts have seen more mild winter temperatures over recent years. Climate Central assessed snowfall in over 2,000 U.S. locations and found that 64% of those locations get less snow than they did in the early 1970s. A warming planet also means more moisture, leading to heavier rain and snowstorms. If cold air is not available, that means more rain than snow.
I think our technology with snowmaking allows it to be that winter wonderland where people can escape from DC and come on up and visit us.
Well, now that Christmas has come and gone, have you thought about what you're going to do with your tree? Well, the best option for the planet is to recycle it. Madeline Morales has more from Central Texas.
The time between now and the first of the year is when many people will look to take down their Christmas decorations and store them away until next year. But for those with live Christmas trees, they're left really with the option to dispose of it. But there's a better way to do so: by recycling it.
Christmas tree recycling at Williamson County Landfill generally year after year is a very popular service that the county residents do use to sustainably dispose of their Christmas trees once they're done with them.
Sherelle Cordes with Waste Management says the trees at the landfill will be turned into mulch, but recycling at the Williamson County Landfill is only reserved for county residents. There are plenty of locations across Central Texas where you can take your tree to be recycled, including 3 with the Texas Disposal Systems in Creedmoor, Georgetown, and Bee Cave.
They can drop them off free of charge, and they will be composted and broken down and recycled into different other materials.
You know, I've seen that the city of Austin is doing some things with Christmas trees, but you know, having a place to drop your Christmas tree off would really be great.
Katie Fordyce with TDS says there's an importance to recycling your tree.
Things that are living should be put to a better use. So you're helping the environment in that way.
But before you drop your tree off at the landfill, TDS, or any other site across the area, there's something Cordes says you need to know.
It needs to be bare when they bring it. And what I mean by that is no lights, no tinsel, no ornaments. And it cannot be the kind with the snow flocking on it.
So for most people, the new year means some kind of resolution, often one involving exercise. In Wisconsin, state park leaders are extending a chance for people to start the new year on the right foot. Eric Peterson explains.
Incentive was we all make good intentions on our New Year's resolutions every year to become more active and to lose weight and to get outside. And what a better way to do it is the very first day of the year, even in a cold January morning, to get out and take a hike.
Friends of Whitefish Dunes State Park Board President John Swanson says this year's first day hike will feature a 1.5-mile guided trek along the Brachiopod Trail. The route gets its name from the clam-like fossil remains found throughout Door County.
There's a lot of interpretive signs that friends help finance and put in that are fun to see. There's some tactile things that kids can touch on.
There are about 9 miles of trails at Whitefish Dunes State Park. Swanson says people are able to explore on their own as well. That includes the sandy shoreline along Lake Michigan.
Yeah, it's very pretty depending on where the waves are coming from. Sometimes there's some big rollers coming in. Sometimes we'll see some ice formations out on the beach.
John Swanson says the hike is scheduled to wrap up at the picnic shelter with cider and hot chocolate, a warm fire, and maybe some memories created along the way.
There is, this Japanese physician described what he called with forest bathing, with the idea is that when you come out and you smell the cedar trees around you and you hear the wind through the trees and the waves rolling in on the side, how when you're anxious or upset or depressed, how it just gets all those feelings to relax and go away. And you can just become refreshed and renewed from being outside.
All right, time now for a short break, but first we soar over the mountains of Utah.
Watching the National Weather Desk.
So the new year is almost here, and there's going to be a temperature shift in parts of the country. Meteorologist Kit Alexander explains.
Winter chill is starting to brew again, and that's going to be moving back in for much of the United States starting with the new year. In the meantime, we've got the milder temperatures, and we're still keeping the ENSO phase right now in the neutral phase. However, a couple other factors are kind of bigger contributors, if you will, to the global weather patterns right now. And of course, that's the North Atlantic and the Arctic. Both of those are going to be shifting to the negative, and well, of course, that also means cooler air in the Atlantic, allowing for this big push of air, this big dip in the jet stream to eventually bring a cold pocket of air back to the United States. In the meantime, we've got the milder than normal temperatures. That's going to continue for much of the United States through, well, the rest of December before we start to see a change. And when you add things up over the next couple of weeks, you add in that colder air that's going to be moving back in for the new year, yeah, it's actually going to be below normal overall for much of the Southeast heading into the new year.
All right, if you're looking for more weather content, you can always just check us out on social media. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back.